Well, thank you all again for attending First Thursdays and for planning for a healthy and green holiday. We're glad to see you all again. Wish it was in person, but this will have to do. And we hope that you're staying safe and healthy this right now and through the holiday season. Megan is going to launch a poll really quickly. And if you don't mind, please take a moment to answer those questions while we begin. That helps us improve this program for you and looking at ways that we can improve in the coming year. I will say our team is working hard to continue to connect with you online through social media. Of course, First Thursdays, B2B, Scorecard Work Days, and the Oklahoma Green Living page. And we're planning an exciting 2021, which includes some outdoor socially distanced events as well. And actually this morning, our team was at the food bank helping to put food together for different members of our community in need. And it was wonderful to be a part of that and I encourage more of that. We'll hear from Greg Raskin to learn more about that as well. But I also want to thank our program sponsors. Our lead sponsor is Williams. And thank you so much, Williams, for your big support this year in 2020. And Public Service Company of Oklahoma, PSO, continues to be a support. American Waste Control, Cavanta, the Met, One Oak, Save Our Streams, Spirit Air Systems, TCC, Center for Creativity, and PSO Win Choice. Give them a virtual round of applause. We literally couldn't do it without their support. And we appreciate their belief in our work and a commitment to supporting us. I also want to thank my board members that have been just amazing during this year and support and leadership, and members that I see here today. I hope I didn't miss anybody, but Matt Newman and Carrie Rowland and Mike Teague. Thank you all for your leadership and this year. Thank you for being with us. I also want to thank Sustainable Tulsa team, Jill Maud, Office Specialist, Megan Hurley, who is our Marketing and Events Manager, and our new Scorecard Manager, Teresa Kerrigan. So make a point to say hi to Teresa if you haven't met her yet. It's been an amazing team, and I couldn't be more thankful for all their hard work this year. Sustainable Tulsa, we do continue to make a positive impact in our community, and we are continuing to do that, but we do need your support. Thank you for those that support us during Giving Tuesday. But we're continuing to find other ways. One way you can make a difference and support us is just a $25 donation, which lists you as a supporter on our Oklahoma Green Living page and shows your support. We want to grow this page and grow the impact of how many people want to live more sustainably in our state. So take a moment if you can. I think that link is being dropped in the chat for you by Teresa. So if you can take a moment and check that out, we'd really appreciate it. Again, Sustainable Tulsa, today is an action-oriented day. We were helping to get food at the food bank, and today we'll also have a food drive from 4 to 6 in the Circle Drive at the food bank. So if you weren't able to get out and volunteer with us, come by and bring some food. I know there's a list of some of the best things to bring or what you have. We do appreciate that. The drive, it'll be through the drive-through there at the food bank from 4 to 6, and we'll post in there how the location there. So anyway, if you can't do it today, make a point to make some time to do it this year. There are a lot of people in need, and a lot of people have lost their jobs this year, as you all know, and so that need is much higher than in the past. So if you can do your part, we do appreciate it. It's definitely that triple bottom line of people, profit, and planet. Our first Thursday of the event in 2021 will be Thursday, January 7th, and our presentation will be over becoming zero waste. It's a great New Year's resolution, so start thinking about ways that you can cut back your waste. Also saves you money and gets rid of clutter and all kinds of good things for you. So make sure you register for that event. Speaking of the New Year's resolution, we're considering posting monthly sustainability challenges for our community. So Megan is going to launch another quick poll just to get an idea of what you might be interested in regards to those opportunities for challenges. So at this point, I do want to turn it back over to Megan as she is going to introduce our digital booths before we get started. Megan?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Corey. We have a quick video from our lead sponsor from Williams. Thank you, Williams, again for becoming a lead sponsor for Sustainable Tulsa's First Thursday program.
We've been around for over 100 years, and the reason that we have is because we always try to do the right thing. We have a culture of doing that. We don't try to cut corners, and we try to do our business in the right way. And that means that we pick strategies that we think are durable and will be around for the long haul as well. So our commitment and vision for sustainability is one that's very concrete and very practical. Since 2012, we started reducing our methane emissions, and we've now reduced them by 41%. For a company that handles 30% of the nation's natural gas, reducing our emissions by that amount is very meaningful. And by 2030, we fully intend to have our greenhouse gas emissions reduced by 56%.
Thank you, Williams. Next up, we have PSO, again, one of our lead sponsors for Sustainable Tulsa's First Thursday program. PSO is an excellent program. They have several excellent programs for energy efficient. I think there was a script and I was sent it and I don't have it in front of me. I apologize. It's difficult to run multiple technologies, but they have the energy efficiency program. And I'm going to go to the next slide. Nanette is the one that you want to reach out to. She runs the Energy Efficiency and Consumer Program. And she's fantastic. So please reach out to her. If you have any questions, her contact information is right there. Next up, we have American Waste Control. They, again, provide a lot of the recycling here in Tulsa County. They do an excellent job. They also work with Eco Wood to recycle wood now. So please, if you haven't started recycling, check out their website. They can help you get started. And then we have the Met. Allie, are you on with us?
I am. We just wanted to give another shout out to our new virtual directory, recyclethistulsa.com. You can go on and type in anything you want to recycle, and the different places that you can recycle those will come up. And another reminder, our centers will be closed on Christmas Day, but we always have our night drop areas if you still want to recycle then.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You guys do an excellent job. I'm so excited. That's a great website too. I enjoy going to it. We also have it linked on our Oklahoma Green Living pages, so check it out. Dustin, are you on with us?
Yes, I am.
Hey, welcome. We missed you.
Dustin. Oh. Yeah, I haven't been around in a while, have I? Things have been different with the city, but yes, my name is Dustin. I'm with the City of Tulsa Stormwater Quality and Save Our Streams, and we monitor the streams for storm drain pollution. One little shout out I want to give: this time of year, we ask that people recycle their used cooking oil. We can take that at our household pollutant collection facility right now, and that facility also is now without an appointment, so you don't have to set an appointment. You can just pull in during open hours and recycle your household pollutants.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dustin. It's so glad it's good to see your face, and thank you for being here. Save Our Streams is a fantastic program, and we're so happy that you are one of our sponsors. And then finally, we have TCC. Of course, if we were in person, we would be hanging out at TCC's Center for Creativity. But they do have a fantastic sustainability program. I know that our board president, Mike Lemus, was a huge part of that. So thank you again for TCC for all of your support of Sustainable Tulsa over the years. Corey, back to you.
Thank you, Megan. And now on to our program. Very excited to have all three of these speakers with us today. I want to introduce them all, and then we'll go right into their presentations. So Greg Raskin, he joined the Community Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma in 2015 as communications manager. He works with media groups and businesses and organizations, as well as the general public, to remind the community that hunger and poverty are powerful and destructive forces. Only by working together can we provide food with dignity to those in need. And Greg received his Bachelor's of Science in Sociology from Oklahoma State University in Stillwater and a Master's of Science in Applied Behavioral Studies in Special Education from OSU Tulsa. He is married to Corey Wren Williams, it's me, and has 2 daughters, Lily and Sophie. Greg, welcome today. We appreciate having you. Also want to introduce Dr. Rebecca Hubbard. She is the director of the Outreach Prevention and Education at Mental Health Association of Oklahoma. Dr. Hubbard has studied and worked in various mental health related fields. She takes a systems approach to mental health, focusing on individuals, family, community, and policy. She enjoys working to evoke a positive change in the culture around mental health, family resilience, and inclusive living. So looking forward to hearing from Dr. Hubbard today. And our final guest here is Bobby Schultz. He is the new executive director of the Tulsa-based nonprofit, the Metropolitan Environmental Trust, the MET. The organization works to include operating 10 recycling drop-off centers and 1 affiliate in Oklahoma communities, staffed by development individuals. Schultz holds a bachelor's degree in journalism from Oklahoma State University. He earned a master's degree in Indian law from the University of Tulsa College of Law. And prior to joining the Met, Schultz spent 33 years with the Boy Scouts of America, teaching youth and adults about environmental issues. Looking forward to your presentations, all of them, on People, Profit, and Planet. Thank you. And now I'll hand it back over to Megan.
We're going to actually hand it over to Greg. Greg, and
Okay.
So we're going to go from, since Corey's taking care of all of the introductions to make things as quick as possible so we can get to questions, we're going to go through Greg's presentation and then to Dr. Hubbard's and then to Bobby's presentation. So we'll just go back to back. So thank you guys so much. Greg, take it away.
All right, thank you. I can't see my controls. Am I off mute?
You're now muted, but you were unmuted. It's a technology. There we go. Thank you so much, Greg. Thank you guys for dealing with our tech issues. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Great to be here. I'd like to give a big thanks to Sustainable Tulsa and their visionary, dynamic, energetic, entrepreneurial nonprofit leader, as well as the rest of the team. They do great work, and we're proud to be a part of their efforts. As you know, they were out at the food bank this morning helping with a drive-through food distribution where we were probably feeding about 1,000 individuals. It's about 250 to 300 families who drove through today to get some home-prepared meals that are done. In the Culinary Center on the grounds of the food bank, we had the first culinary commercial kitchen in the Feeding America network. And we've had a couple other firsts in the country. So our food bank here in Tulsa is visionary and dynamic in its own right. And we try to do the best we can to find niches where people in need aren't getting their food needs met and to try and take care of that. With regards to sustainability and People, Profit, Planet, the food bank by its very nature really hits all 3 of those buttons. When it comes to people, it's clear that we're providing food needs to folks who are really struggling. And if I could read a quick little quote, this was from one of our directors a while ago. And she said, here we go. There are many people in our community who hit a rough patch at times. One box of food at the end of a month won't solve a financial crisis, but it may help someone and their family eat more securely while they work through that crisis. And that was from Sue Catron from Tahlequah. So the food bank helps people. I'm going to talk a little bit about the hunger tax, which was a phrase coined by Eileen Bradshaw, our former director, and it really encapsulates a lot of what we do and how it helps the community. And finally, Planet. The very nature of what we do takes food that would typically go to waste and keeps it out of landfill. Last year, I believe it was about 14 million pounds of food that otherwise would have gone to landfill went to people who were food insecure and hungry. So those are just a few of the ways in which we hit the triple bottom line. And Megan, if you've got the slides for the presentation. All right. So I'm going to zip through a lot of these. I love talking about the food bank. I think the work that we do is really instrumental in Eastern Oklahoma. We cover the eastern third of the state. And Megan, you can go ahead and hit the next slide. That's our service area in Oklahoma. We have a branch in McAllister down in Pittsburgh County, and that helps us to more efficiently serve those southern 8 counties. I totally lost my train of thought. Megan, next slide, please. All right, so hunger is a big topic, and it's when someone doesn't have enough nutritious food to maintain an active, healthy life. And so one of the things that often seems paradoxical is there's a lot of people who have issues with obesity, but also with hunger. And I know it's kind of big to see in a lot of these commercials on television and in publications of starving children who have the distended belly and otherwise look incredibly skinny. But if you're a family trying to maximize the minimal resources, financial resources that you have, one of the things that you're going to do is try to bulk up on the most filling items that you can for the least amount of money. And oftentimes that really relates to things that are unhealthy and have high in carbohydrates, high glycemic index, and they're just really not good for a healthy life. So that's one of the paradoxes with hunger. Megan? So again, here's some of these issues that can result if people don't get enough nutritious food: hypertension, obesity, diabetes, and their mental capacity. If you think about the way each of us react when we're hungry because we haven't had our afternoon snack or lunch comes a little bit late, imagine if that was something you couldn't control. You knew you didn't have the food, or you had to go for days without eating. It doesn't make for students who are actively engaged in their schoolwork, and it doesn't mean that we have a workforce that's actively engaged in their jobs. Megan? There's a lot of reasons why people in our country go hungry. Arguably the richest country in the world, and yet we have a high degree of food insecurity. But poverty and low-wage jobs, especially in Oklahoma, which is a pretty low-wage state for most entry-level positions and on up. We do have the oil industry, we do have some aerospace, but majority of the jobs we have in our state are low-wage. People on fixed incomes, like the couple you see to the right, that often leads to issues with food security. Vulnerable populations like children and seniors, they're dependent on other people oftentimes. Certainly children are. When they go hungry, it's kind of hard to blame them. Same with seniors. Also, many seniors have issues with accessibility, whether or not they can get around and walk, if they have transportation. Food deserts is another obstacle, and health issues. Again, most often related to seniors in our communities. Megan? So food insecurity at its simplest definition is when somebody doesn't have a sure idea of how they're going to obtain their next meal. It's quite a bit different from, boy, I sure am hungry. I wonder what I'm going to have for lunch. And then having the opportunity to choose from a myriad of samples in your refrigerator and cupboard. Okay. Here's a little bit lengthier definition of food insecurity by the USDA. Okay. And one thing I want to reiterate is food insecure households are not always food insecure. If you'll think back to that quote that I provided just a moment ago, sometimes people have a temporary loss of a job. They might have to make some hard choices between a car that's broken down that they need for transportation And so money that was going to be allocated for food might be allocated for car repair, unexpected health costs that affect a family. These are very real issues, especially when you're living paycheck to paycheck, or more particularly, not quite paycheck to paycheck. Okay. So again, there's those trade-offs between paying medical bills or paying for food, paying for the heat of your house, utilities, or getting enough food on the table. Talked about this just a moment ago. The hunger tax. So it's a lot easier for us to help people with food insecurity, shortages in food. It's a lot less expensive to help people when they're hungry than to counter those effects through social outcomes, through poor nutrition, poor health costs, or higher health costs, poor medical and social outcomes. The hunger tax is a real thing. And in Oklahoma, we have very high healthcare costs. We are just expanding our Medicaid, and so hopefully that will help. But there's a lot of people in Oklahoma who suffer from obesity, hypertension, all the things we talked about earlier, and a lot of it comes down to having enough food to eat and enough nutritious food. So a lot of people ask about COVID and how that's affecting the food bank. And I think it's probably affecting the food bank just exactly as you would imagine. So since March, the food bank has consistently provided 30% more food to our partners. So at its most basic, the food bank is a food distribution center, and we provide food to 350 partner agencies across Eastern Oklahoma, that territory that I showed you earlier. And those are soup kitchens, emergency shelters, senior living centers, veterans initiatives. We really try to serve the entire population. And some of our agencies are seeing as much as a 60 to 70% increase in the amount of people that they're seeing. A lot of the people who have come into our partners are coming in for the first time. These are people who have been laid off from jobs, or they've seen a reduction in their work. There's also a lot of people, obviously, with medical issues as they're dealing with coronavirus. So it's just been a huge impact on our food bank. And as you can see, this event is widespread geographically. So food banks are no strangers to responding to crises and emergencies. We had the floods spring of 2019. We had the federal shutdown. We've helped out in hurricanes and tornadoes in other communities. And that's the point. When disasters happen to smaller geographical regions, the Feeding America network, which is 200 food banks across the country, they can all respond. So Feeding America will take a lead role, and they know if we've got a surplus of bottled water, we can get bottled water to a hurricane site. Other places might have food items that they can get. But during this pandemic, clearly every community in the country is facing similar circumstances. So those sharing of resources doesn't happen quite as readily as it normally would. Again, we don't know the duration of the pandemic, and this has affected some of our supply chains. Some items we're having a hard time getting. We're seeing delays in delivery, and so that's creating some more challenges. Okay. So here's a few items. Before the pandemic hit, food insecurity levels were the lowest they'd been in 20 years, but a lot of those are going to be wiped out due to the pandemic. We talked about 30% more food that our food bank has distributed. In our last fiscal year, we averaged the equivalent of 464,000 meals every week. And think about that, that's quite an astounding number. So we're not serving those as meals, but the food that we distribute, we have a little conversion ratio, and the equivalent of the pounds of food was 464,000 a week. And since the pandemic began, we're averaging about 600,000 meals a week. So it's a substantial increase. Breeze through that one. So before the pandemic began, 1 in 6 Oklahomans would struggle with hunger, food insecurity. Okay. And since the pandemic, that's now 1 in 5 Oklahomans. Okay. I love this quote from Jeff Bridges. Hunger is a complicated issue, and we've talked about some of those complications, but feeding a child isn't. So one of the big programs that we push at the food bank is our Food for Kids series of programs, and that includes things like our backpack program, which a lot of people have heard about. It was the first part of this series of programs that the food bank initiated about 11 or 12 years ago. We also have food pantries in a lot of our middle schools and high schools, and those have been a real lifesaver for a lot of school communities. The children, even if they've been remote learning, have been able to access a lot of the food pantries at schools. And when they do, they're not only getting food for themselves, but they're also getting food for their families. Okay. So when it comes to children, they're growing on a daily basis. And when they don't have the food that they need to maintain themselves, they're having physical, emotional, and intellectual setbacks. And a lot of those deficits are never recovered, especially when you think about the competitive nature of schools. So we really want to make sure that children have the food that they need to grow and to thrive and to compete with their peers. So again, before the pandemic, 1 in 4 children were food insecure and at risk of going to bed hungry at night. And now with the pandemic, that number is projected to be 1 in 3 children. So how you can help, there's a lot of ways to help the food bank by donating funds. That's the most efficient, especially right now. Our volunteer levels are a little bit lower because we're trying to stay together with CDC recommendations. So we have less volunteers at the food bank at any given time for safety. You can advocate. You can take a virtual tour, which we will have up on our website soon. You can support a community event like what Sustainable Tulsa is doing and having a food drive later today. We have a lot of cause marketing events like at Reese's, at just a wide variety of places around Tulsa. They are giving proceeds to the food bank from sales. We love it when people donate food, and then hopefully after the pandemic, we'll be able to resume our events. So we can go through these, Megan, and get closer to the end. I think we're getting close to the end. Last year, about 10,000 individual volunteers saved the food bank over, it's actually $10 million in labor costs, about 10,000. So we still need volunteers at the food bank. We have a variety of things that people can do in our culinary center, as you see there on the left. We have opportunities outside at free family farmers markets that help preschool children, as well as our soups on distributions that we did today, which is outside and very safe to volunteer. Okay. And if you'd like to volunteer, give us a call. There's the main number to the food bank, or you can go directly to that link, and hopefully we'll have links for everybody later, and that'll take you right to our site to sign up. Again, I want to thank Sustainable Tulsa and thank all of you for your interest, and hopefully we'll see you at the food bank. Everybody stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Yes, Greg, the volunteering this morning was really, really easy. We had gloves and masks, and it was a fantastic event. So if you're looking for ways to help, the outdoor soups on distribution, I think, happens every Thursday. But if you go to okfoodbank.org, you can find out and sign up to help. It was an excellent time. So thank you. Up next, we have Dr. Hubbard with Mental Health Association of Oklahoma.
Megan, can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Great.
The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Greg, for that presentation. So important to have those basic needs met for our wellness. And I appreciate the work that you all are doing, and I'm very excited to know more about it. And my kids will want to get involved, so you will probably be seeing us around. I am Rebecca Hubbard. I'm the Director of Outreach Prevention Education, Mental Health Association, Oklahoma. I'm here today. I want to say thank you so much to Sustainable Tulsa for reaching out and thinking about the whole person when it comes to sustainability and wellness, and the fact that mental health is a component of who we are and who our communities are. And that is important to consider that, particularly during a pandemic and the holidays. So if you just read this title of mine and had a little palpitation or a momentary increase in your blood pressure, I'm glad you're here today, because I'm hoping that by the end of this presentation, you will feel a little more well-equipped and a little more mind at ease as you move into the holidays during this time. Next slide, please, Megan. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that and some resources, and also encourage you on reaching out and thinking about your neighbors, your family members, your friends, your coworkers in this process. So the first thing is we can all be intentional. So when we're intentional, we can think about those things that we can control. There's a lot that we cannot control, especially when it comes to living during a pandemic. But we can think about what we can control and focus on that. So for example, we can break things down into smaller steps. We can take those baby steps, right? So when we were younger and we learned to tie our shoes, we had somebody that broke down make the bunny ears and cross them around and pull them tight, right? Same thing, just as adults, sometimes when things are really heavy and layered on as they are right now for many of us, it's important to break down some tasks that seem overwhelming into more manageable steps. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, look at that task and see how you might be able to break it down, and then take it one step at a time. Take a break. Take a break is very important. That might be take a break from social media. It might be take a break from media news. It might be take a break and take a walk around the neighborhood or your building. Anything that kind of disconnects your brain from the barrage of media and information that we receive these days. It's very important for us, our brain and our brain health, to have a break, even if it's just sitting in a chair and staring out a window, watching the birds or the squirrels, which are quite entertaining in Tulsa. Keep celebrating. We have a tendency sometimes to forget celebrating when we're really at the grind, working hard in the midst of a very difficult time to bring about good and maintain positive efforts. Sometimes it's hard to remember to stop and celebrate, to have fun, to enjoy life. And especially when we're limited on gathering, maybe during a holiday or another celebration that we would ordinarily be having. Find creative, innovative ways to still connect and to still celebrate. Practice gratitude. This is one that sustains me every day. I do a gratitude list. Some people are robust and amazing and they do 10 things every day. I'm too much of a perfectionist. I would get bogged down in that and probably never get to my work list. So I just do 3 every morning. And it really just gives perspective and helps you to maintain that positive view when things can be pretty grim and negative. We need to find that place of positivity to view things through, so that we can be resilient and sustain ourselves mentally and emotionally through some difficult times. Setting boundaries. Some people say, oh, wait, what does that mean? Others say, yes, love boundaries. Let's do boundaries. Boundaries are just saying, look, this is what I can do and this is what I cannot do. And then maintaining that. If people are pushing you to go one way or another, if you have a tendency to want to push somebody one way or another and they have a boundary, we want to respect our own boundaries and other people. We want to help keep people safe. A lot of keeping people safe is not just about physical safety, but about psychological safety. So those boundaries are there to keep people safe. So if they need to not gather for the holidays, we need to respect that that's their boundary for their mental and physical well-being, and love them just the same, right? And it's okay to set our own boundaries and figure out, what works and what doesn't. And that could be a whole presentation in and of itself, because it's about keeping yourself healthy. It's not about controlling anybody or anyone else, about keeping yourself healthy. And then you'll hear me say this throughout the presentation a couple of different times: ask for help. When things get overwhelming, you're having difficulty getting out of bed several days in a row, you are having heart rate rhythm is increased, your appetite is significantly changed for an extended period of time, you can't turn off the mind at night, and you're up and you're barely getting any sleep. Those are reasons to kind of step out and maybe do a mental health screening, go maybe talk to your practitioner and kind of check in and see, maybe I need a little more help. Or it could be something as simple as calling a friend to help out with picking up your groceries. Asking for help and being there for others when they need help is highly advantageous to our mental and emotional well-being. Next slide, please. So we want to also normalize the new. This is something that really can help as we build resilience during this time. The fact of the matter is that change is here. We really don't know what is going to come. Our foundation is literally uncertainty. Well, it's getting a little more certain, which is nice, with the hopes of a vaccination being distributed soon. That will be a long process. And we need to kind of buckle in and just be planning for change. So you can make these plans for your holidays, that you can make them for your family, you can make them for your work. So my staff, they know what our plans are. They know what our plans are based on how we are right now. They know what our return to the work environment plans are. They know what is a full expectation of back to everything is normal. This is really good for families and kids, where we keep this bouncing back and forth with we're in school, we're not in school, that kind of thing. It's great to sit down with your kids and have a plan A, B, and C with a routine of A, B, and C. Some things are typical, some things have changed, everything's completely new. So just keep that in mind and be considerate or consider doing this, because when you're able to plan for change, change is much less painful and much less scary for yourself and for those around you. Okay, next slide, please. We want to make sure that we're maintaining healthy balance in our emotions and our mental thought processes. And there's many different ways to do this, one of which Greg just touched on, and that's eating healthfully, right? The nutrients that we get into our body affect our brain and our brain health and our mental wellness. And then in turn, our relational wellness. We actually have just as many neurotransmitters in our stomach and digestive system as we do in our brain. A lot of people don't realize that. In fact, the vagus nerve that runs from your midbrain down all the way down your body lands in your stomach. So when you get a gut feeling, it truly is something you need to pay attention to, because that's actually your brain signaling something's going on. So eating healthfully really helps our brain to function well and to stay balanced and to take care of that mental wellness and engage others in a relationally healthy way. Also, time to meditate or pray or just sit quietly is extremely restoring to the neurological processes of your brain, and thus your mental well-being and your emotional functioning. Also doing things like laughing. Laughing is really great medicine. There are times during this that I have said to my family, no, absolutely not. I do not want to watch action. I do not want to watch drama. I do not want to watch anything unless it is funny and it has me rolling on the floor funny. Like I have to have funny. And it is very, very healing. So be intentional about reaching out to activities that will bring joy to you, whether that's line dancing with some friends in the front yard, or it's watching a funny movie, or looking up jokes and memes, or sending memes to your friends. That's another great way to, I treasure and value. I have 3 friends that send me the funniest memes, and that gets me through my week every week. And my little grand puppies, and playing with them. Visual imagery is something you can do. That's the picture of the beach is there to remind me of visual imagery. I do this, I actually incorporate all my senses. So when I think of a positive place and I visualize that place, I don't just see it, I also hear it, smell, taste, sound. So when it's the beach, I'm tasting that salt air. I'm feeling the sunshine in the sand. I'm hearing the waves, right? So really that visual imagery can really give you a moment of rest and relaxation. Any type of meditation is helpful for that. Also, exercise, of course, is very, very healthy for us. It helps to balance our neurotransmitters and our neurochemicals. And reading or doing other activities that you find enjoyable and relaxing are very, very helpful. Next slide, please. We want to make sure that we communicate and connect daily with our people, whoever that is, whether that's your kiddos, your spouse, your partner, your friend, your parent, your siblings, whoever that is that you would normally engage with. Keep staying engaged on a daily basis if you've already been engaged with them pre-pandemic. We want to talk to our family. We want to reach out and connect with them. And we want to make sure we're continuing to connect with our tribe. That may be your friend group, that may be your work family, that may be a community-based or faith-based group that you have connection in that's provided you support. You want to make sure, if that's fallen off with all the weight and shift of pandemic, find a way to re-engage there. It's very important. We did those before for a reason, and we need to continue to do them. And we need to be willing to be a little bit adaptive. Maybe we have to do one more Zoom meeting to have that connection, or pick up that phone and talk over the phone where we normally would be together. That's okay. Something is better than nothing. Next slide, please. And then again, just reminding that you matter, especially as leaders. You are not only taking care of yourself, you are tending to and caring for other people. And so we want to encourage you to be mindful of your own needs, make sure that you're reaching out and asking for help when needed, and continue to do those. I think I'm speaking to the choir here when I say continue to do those random acts of kindness. It is very advantageous and very healthy for our mental health and emotional wellness to do kindness for others, whether that's paying for the coffee in the line behind you. We used to do that, went on there for a while. That was really neat, where there's a lot of pay it forward kind of things, paying for the coffee or the meal in front of you, helping a neighbor put up Christmas lights, taking a friend to somewhere that they need to go if you can do that safely. Maybe just pulling in the neighbor's trash can in. Just the smallest thing can make the biggest difference. And if you have more time and more energy and more direction, then go big too. I mean, I'm all for that. And the larger the act, the better. But as far as the benefit of the wellness that you receive, but small acts too are very, very, very beneficial. Next slide, please. So this is just another, I really love this quote. What wisdom can you find that is greater than kindness, right? There's nothing I can say to you today, or any of us can say, other than acts of kindness, and being kind to one another is so, so valuable for us and for them and for our community as a whole. Next slide, please. And this last slide is just some resources. I got really fancy and did Falling Snowflake for you. So hopefully you're feeling a little more calm and equipped and ready. We do have resources at the Mental Health Association. We offer support groups for those struggling with mental health disorders. NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness. We have a local Tulsa branch. I serve on the board. We offer support groups and family classes if you're a family member of someone that's struggling with a mental health disorder. At the Mental Health Association Oklahoma, we also have a large list of podcasts that you can access, including podcasts on learning how to do meditation. I did a podcast early on when the pandemic first started having a significant impact in Oklahoma. That's on there. You can also sign up for support groups or suicide prevention trainings or other opportunities through Get Help web form on our page. This Mindful Healthy Mind, Healthy Life is a great resource for mindfulness. And then Mental Health America is a wonderful national resource. We are their Oklahoma affiliate. And you can do a screening for yourself there if you want to check that out and you feel like, well, maybe I'm struggling with anxiety, but I want to look at what that means before I talk to my physician about it. You can go on Mental Health America and do a screening specifically for that. And there's a lot of so much statistics, information, resources on their webpage as well. Thank you so much again to Sustainable Tulsa for being mindful and aware of our mental wellness as a part of our wellness individually and as a community.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. We really appreciate it. Some great tips. Okay, we are nearing the end. We've got Bobby Schultz from the Met. He is going to talk about the 10 green gifts for this year. Bobby, take it away.
Okay, thank you. This is my first official time to speak as the new executive director. So, mark it down on your calendar. This is a fun one. And every year the Met comes up with a top 10 green gifts list. So let's get right to it. Now, these are not in any particular order. If we were on the David Letterman show, we'd start with number 10 and go to number 1, but all these gifts are great. So you can pick which is number 1 when we're done with the list. So let's go to the first slide. These are eco-friendly crayons. Now, you always want to encourage the creativity of the little artist in your life, and you may be the artist. This is a great way to do it because these crayons are made from soy and beeswax. They're biodegradable, and even if your kids or your pets start chewing on these, they have no harsh chemicals, and so they'll be good for you. And who knows, you may have the next Picasso or Rembrandt or famous Oklahoma artists like Dana Tiger and Virginia Stroud. Let's move to the next one. This is, I think, a really interesting bicycle. For those of you who have children or grandchildren, you probably were surprised to see how quickly they grew. When we bought our grandson his first bicycle, he outgrew it within 6 months. And this bicycle is unique because it grows as your child grows. In theory, it should last 7 years because you can expand the length of it. It's made of aluminum, so it's rust-free and it's lightweight. And in the long run, will save you money instead of having to buy 3 or 4 different bicycles. Next slide. Okay, the window bird's nest. I think this is a unique gift, a unique item, because you can actually attach this birdhouse to a window. It has a clear back that faces the window, so you can watch as birds make nests, as they lay eggs, as the eggs hatch, and see the whole process up close and personal. I had a friend who had an owl make a nest on his porch, and he thought that was great until there was all the mess with all the vermin and everything laying everywhere. This keeps it all compact and everybody can see it up close and personal. Next slide. The kitchen worm composter. Now, before all of you say, oh, there's no way I would have this in my kitchen, what you need to know is there is no smell to this. And this is a great way to put your leftover food in there, have the worms eat it. And worm castings are really, really incredibly nutrition rich. So a lot of people seek out this type of composting for their most valuable plants, their favorite plants. And it's actually very compact and it's unique. You have to admit that. Let's go to the next one, which is the Husky cups. Now, these cups are actually made from husks from coffee plants. So for those people that you have in your life, and it may be you, that are coffee fanatics, this helps use the entire coffee plant. And we ordered one of these cups. They're really great. They're good insulators. There's a good seal to them. But the neat part about this is, if you get tired of it, if it reaches the end of its life, which should be years from now, then you can actually return it to the company and they'll repurpose it. Okay, let's go to the next one. which is Eileen Fisher Renew. These are clothes that are actually made from old clothes. They take back old clothes and transform them into new pieces. They're kind of like a unique piece of art, and then they resell them. They've taken back over 1.4 million pieces of clothing since 2009, and they are pretty stylish. We had the people in the office looked it over, and they just loved these type things. So if you want something unique, that is a unique gift. Next, the Allbirds shoes. These are shoes that are made from recycled products like plastic bottles and nylon. The soles are recycled. They use wool, they use sugar cane, they use sustainably sourced trees to put together these shoes. I ordered some for my wife and a pair for myself. They're actually pretty stylish, they're lightweight. The price is comparable to buying a pair of Nikes or Adidas shoes, and they're very, very comfortable. So that's something to think about. Let's go to the next slide. 10 Tree Clothing. We ordered one of these shirts. They're very comfortable shirts. The unique thing about this gift is for every piece of clothing that this company sells, they will plant 10 trees. Their goal is to plant 1 billion trees by the year 2030. And we all know how important trees are. If you want to breathe oxygen, they're important. And with all the wildfires that ravaged California this year, this is a perfect thing. So maybe you might want to buy a piece of clothing for everybody in your family and plant 100 trees or more. Number 9, the Eco Green Mobile Detailing. Now, everybody has a friend or a family member, or maybe it's yourself, whose car is a disaster. My wife would say that would be my car. Detailing is a great gift to give somebody because you feel like you're in a brand new car when it's done. When you deal with a company like Eco Green Mobile Detailing, they save about 100 gallons of water on every single detail job. Plus they use plant-based products for the interior, so there are no harsh chemicals that go back into the environment. It's a great gift, and you won't be afraid to get in your friend's car again. Number 10 on this list is my actual personal favorite. A lot of people think about, oh, I want to go to Hawaii, I want to go to Australia, I want to see the Eiffel Tower or the Roman Colosseum, and they forget that there are so many things to do in Oklahoma right here. From the time my grandson was just a little guy, he and I went to all sorts of places in Oklahoma. One time he came to stay, we made a whirlwind tour. We went to see the Sod House in Aleen. We went to the Gloss Mountains. We went to Little Sahara State Park and played in the sand dunes. We went to Alabaster Caverns in Freedom, Oklahoma, all in a 2-day period. And we have a very diverse geography in Oklahoma. We went to Black Mesa and hiked to the highest point in Oklahoma. You can go to the Spiro Mounds, the Heavener Runestone, Robbers Cave. There are all sorts of trips that you can take together. And it's the best gift, I think, that you can give because you're giving the gift of time to your children, to your family, to your grandkids. You're spending some quality time. And kids remember experiences long after the toy that you buy them is broken and discarded after a month. One place that I'd like to put a little plug in for is through the National Park Service, the Ouachita Battlefield. That's not very well known in Oklahoma, and it should be. It's not taught in the history books. It should be. It's near Cheyenne, Oklahoma. And when my brother and grandson and I went out to take a tour, I called a week ahead of time, and they actually assigned a park ranger to take us on the 1.25 mile path through the park and point out the different significant points where Custer's army came in, where they split, where they attacked Chief Black Kettle. It's worth going to see, and it's a part of history that everybody needs to know. So those are some ideas But I also want to throw out here, during this time, 2020, we all know it's been a challenging year. I would encourage you to buy local. In addition to these ideas, go to some local stores, look for made in Oklahoma items, and let's help our own economy, our own communities. And you can also never go wrong with making a gift, because when you put in the time and the effort, that means a lot to people. You can throw a gift card or money at something, but if you make canned goods or something by hand, well, that means an awful lot. So make a gift. The last thing I want to put out there for you to consider is a lot of wrapping paper is not recyclable. If it's glossy, if it's laminated, if it has glitter on it, those are trouble items. Consider making your own way to wrap it. Naturally, pine cones, anything to decorate it, or get a decorative box that you can use year after year. My family does that quite a bit. Use a gift bag that you can reuse. And that's just another way to help the environment. So thank you for allowing me to be here. And if you have any other suggestions, hey, feel free to shoot us emails and let us know. And I hope you have a happy holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bobby and Greg and Dr. and Rebecca. We appreciate all three of you spending time with us today and really getting geared up for the holiday, thinking about how to care for others, how to care for ourselves, and how to care for the earth. All three very important part of that triple bottom line, of course, people, profit, planet, but really it's about community right now. I love the ideas of the random acts of kindness, just pulling up, the trash can for your neighbor or something like that. All those little things you remember those. You're like, well, I didn't have to do that. And it carries with you through the day. It's a good reminder. I challenge each of you to do one random act of kindness today for someone. Do it and tell us about it. We want to hear about it. So again, I think we're at time, unfortunately. If you do have some questions for our presenters, please share them with us. We'll get it to them. I think just due to time, we'll have to wrap up, but such great information. We appreciate you. We appreciate seeing all of you and being a part of this and interested in today's topic. I want to thank again for those uplifting presentations are preparing us for this holiday season for some. And we'll send out an email to you tomorrow with the recording and some other resources that were shared. Lots of great resources today. So we have a couple other questions I think that are getting shared. If you can share that poll there, Megan, we'd want to get your feedback. Again, I want to thank our lead sponsors, Williams, appreciate their video today as well, PSO Wind Choice, American Waste Control, the Met, One Oak, Save Our Stream, Spirit Air System, TCC, Center for Creativity. Thank you. And I want to do a specific shout out to Pam Taylor and Allison Stone. They both joined us this morning volunteering and shared how much they enjoyed it. I'm sure we'll go back again, join us or go another time on your own. It is fulfilling to do your part to help uplift our entire community. Stay safe out there. We look forward to seeing you in person again one of these days. Just reach out if you ever need anything, and have a great, safe holiday. And stick around for a minute if you want to say hello to folks. We'd love to see you. But thanks again for all your support and take care out there. All right. Bye. Thank you.